Welcome to Flow. Let's get started. Today we'll start off in a kneeling position. Bring your hands to rest on your thighs with your palms facing down or facing up. Allow your eyes to close or find a soft gaze. And start to bring your focus and your awareness to your breath. Notice the expansion of your lungs, your ribs, your belly with every inhale. And with every exhale, feel yourself a little more grounded into your body, into your bones. Open your eyes. We're going to start off with a neck stretch. Bring your right hand so it comes underneath your right thigh, between the thigh and the calf. And then tip your head away from your right hand so your left ear comes over towards your left shoulder. And you can stay still in that stretch, or if you want to find a little side-to-side movement, that can feel nice as well. Maybe find a little bit of movement through the jaw so you can get a little bit deeper into the front of your throat. Nice and gentle neck stretch. And then slowly release. Let your hand go. We're just going to take this the opposite way. So take your left hand so it comes between your left thigh and your left calf. And then send your right ear over towards your right shoulder. And then really pull away from your hand that's underneath your thigh. And you can stay still in the stretch, or you can find a little bit of movement through your head, maybe forwards and backwards. Maybe a little bit of movement in your jaw as well. Nice and gentle, breathe into your stretch. And then slowly release your hand. And come out of this and move yourself to a neutral tabletop position so your shoulders are right over the wrists and the hips are over the knees. And from here, reach your right hand straight forward and then flip your right palm up towards the ceiling. Flex your right palm as much as you can and then try to send your fingers so they point back towards your knees and bring your palm as flat as you can. And then start to draw some circles through your upper body. So we're getting a nice wrist and forearm stretch. We'll take about 3 circles in one direction and then 3 circles in the other direction. And this can be a little bit intense, so if you need to de-tensify the stretch, lift your wrist up just a little bit. And then after your third circle, release your hand. So you're coming into a more neutral stance. And we'll switch to the opposite side. Left hand reaches forward. Flip the left palm to the ceiling and then bring your fingers down to the mat so they point towards your knee. And then start to take these circles on the opposite side. We take 3 circles in one direction and 3 circles in the opposite direction. Just finding a little bit of release into the wrist and the forearm. Something we don't always think about, even though we use our wrists so much with texting and typing. And slowly release your left wrist. From here, plant your palms into the mat, lift your right leg out to the side, and start to draw some circles through your right knee. Just starting to lubricate a little bit more into your right hip. Take 3 circles in one direction, and then take 3 circles in the opposite direction. And then release your right leg back down. We're going to take that all on the left side. So lift your left leg up and just start to take those circles through your hips. You might feel a little bit of movement into your lower back here. That's okay, but we do want to try to keep the lower back as supported as possible. This is more about finding range of motion through the hip and just kind of lubricating through that joint. 3 circles one direction, 3 circles the opposite direction. And then after you've done that, release your left foot down. Extend your right leg back long behind you and now lift your right foot up off the mat so both of your hips are square to the ground. Now rotate your right leg out to the side, kind of a rond de jambe, and then gently lower your right foot down to the mat. Lift your right foot up, rond de jambe it back behind you. We're going to take this a few more times. Comes out to the side, lower the foot down, lift the foot up, and then bring it back behind you. Try to keep your lower spine as still as you can. We're starting to find a little more work through the glute and through the oblique. We take this 5 times total. Use your outer right glute to lift your right leg. Last one here. Lower the foot with control, lift the foot, bring it back behind you, and then bring your right knee back down to the ground, back to our tabletop, and we move everything to the left side. Extend your left leg back long behind you. Lift your left leg up off the mat and then rotate your left leg around and out to the side. Gently lower your left foot down. Lift your left foot up and then bring it back behind you. And we take this 5 times total. Now your left hip is going to lift slightly, and that's okay. But when you bring the left leg back long behind you, try to readjust your hips just for that moment so they're back square to the mat. So this is a really good stability exercise for your core, for your left oblique, but also for your outer left glute. Really press down into your hands, especially your left hand. And then after your 5th go around, bring yourself back into your tabletop position, flip your toes and find a downward facing dog. And find a few moments of breath here in downward facing dog. Energize your heels down towards the ground. Feel that link through the back of each leg. Spread your fingers wide. And then bring your gaze between your thumbs and walk your feet up towards your hands. And now bring your feet a little bit wider so they're to the edges of your mat. You can turn your feet out slightly, send your hips back, and we're moving into a squat pose. Bring your elbows to your knees to encourage the knees out to the side. Press your palms together. Think of that space where your lower back is very wide. Press down evenly through your feet, even into the outer edges of both feet. And now release, bring your hands down to the ground. Come into a variation of a forward fold. So it's a little bit wider. You can adjust your toes so they're facing forward. And find a few moments of gentle sway through the upper body. And start to bring that sway so you come all the way up to stand upright. Nice and slow, just kind of swaying from side to side. Your head will be the last thing to arrive. Once you get there, bring your feet a little bit closer together. And now pull your right knee towards your chest. Interlace your hands around your right shin. Stand up nice and tall. Actively press down through your bottom left foot. And now take your right knee out to the side. You can use your right hand on your right shin. And then revolve this so the right ankle crosses over your left knee and send your hips back into a standing figure 4. So we're coming into a balanced posture, but this is also a really nice way to open through your right glute. Try to send your hips back. Power down through your left foot, stand up, one-legged mountain pose, find it again. And then release your right foot back down to the mat. Give yourself a moment here. And we'll set up our other side. Pull your left knee into your chest. Wrap your fingers around your left shin and pull your knee in towards your chest. Actively plug down into your bottom right foot and grow tall away from the ground. And now take your knee into your left hand and open your left knee out to the side. You can bring your right hand onto your right hip for a little bit of stability. Continue to grow up tall through the crown of your head. And now we move into your figure 4. Cross your left ankle over your right thigh, send your hips back and move into this upright figure 4. Try to flex your top left foot and then encourage your left knee open to the side, even a little bit deeper. Let your hips go further back and actively press your palms together. Breathe here. And now power down into your right foot and bring yourself back up to stand in a one-legged mountain pose. Feel your bones stack, pull your left knee up, reach your arms up. And now release your left foot and take a moment in this standing position. Separate your feet once again, bring your hands to heart center, and bring your hips back down into this familiar squatting position. You can have a slight turnout through the feet. Bring your hands down to the ground and step your feet back to your high plank position. And from there, move to downward facing dog. Energize your heels down towards the mat. On an inhale, lift your right leg up high. And on an exhale, pull your right knee to your right tricep. Inhale, lift your right leg high. And on your exhale, step your right foot outside of your right hand. We move into a twist. Reach your right arm up towards the ceiling. Actively press down into your bottom left hand. Breathe here. Reach your right fingertips actively towards the ceiling. Now bring your right hand back down to the mat and heel toe your right foot a little more towards the center of your chest. Rotate your back left heel down to the mat and open up to a warrior two. Find a nice deep bend into your front right knee. Pull your fingertips away from each other. Extended side angle, bring your right forearm down onto your right thigh and reach your left arm up overhead. And then feel your left fingertips pull away from the outer edge of your left foot. Look down in front of your right toes, heel toe your left foot towards your right foot, bring your right hand down to the ground and try to lift your left leg up into a balancing half moon. Think of stacking one hip on top of the other. Reach one wrist away from the other so you're nice and open through your chest. Breathe here. Now take your back leg and start to bring it around and out to the side, kind of that rond de jambe motion we took earlier, and then slowly lower your left foot into your forward fold. Separate your feet about mat's width distance once again. Send the hips down to our squat pose. Press your palms together, press your elbows into your knees. Option to stay here or option to move into a crow pose. Bring your hands onto the mat, bend your elbows and stack your knees on top of your triceps. And then try to float one or both feet up off the ground. Just give it a go, see what happens, or option to just stay in that squat pose. We're here for just a few more breaths. If you fall out, no big deal, come back into it. Just a moment to play around with this balance. And if you're up, slowly bring your toes back down to the mat. Move back into the squat position. And then bring your hands down, step to a high plank position, and transition to downward facing dog. And we set everything up on the second side. Inhale, lift your left leg high. On your exhale, pull your left knee to your left tricep. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, step your left foot outside of your left hand, and now reach your left arm up towards your ceiling for a twist. Actively pull your left hand away from your bottom hand. Think of the activity in your right heel as well. This isn't a passive stretch, this is active through the legs. Bring your left hand back inside of your left foot and start to heel toe your left foot to the center of your chest. Rotate your back heel down to the ground and open up to your warrior two. Find a nice deep bend into your front left knee and breathe here. Feel the stretch and pull of your fingertips away from each other. Move your left forearm down to your left thigh. Reach your right arm up overhead for your extended side angle. Actively press the outer edge of your right foot into your mat and continue to spin your heart open towards your ceiling. Look in front of your left foot, heel toe your right foot forward and shift yourself all the way on to your front left foot for a balancing half moon. Try to roll your right hip open as much as you can so you can imagine one hip stacking on top of the other. Breathe into the space of your chest. Press actively through the bottom of your right heel and now start to bring that right foot so it comes around, kind of that rond de jambe action out to the side. Use your outer right glute for strength and then lower with control back to this forward fold. And then you can move your forward fold back to a downward facing dog. Inhale to lift your right leg high. Exhale, bring your right knee towards your right wrist and set up for your half pigeon stretch. So your right shin will come across the front of your mat. Take a moment in an upright position. And then when you're ready, release yourself over into a sleeping pigeon. And if this variation doesn't feel good, feel free to come onto your back and find a supine figure 4 with your right ankle crossed over your left thigh. Whichever variation you've chosen, come back to the movement of your breath and find release and opening through your outer right hip. If you're in your half pigeon, with every exhale, allow your torso to get a little bit heavier over your front right shin. You can find a little bit of movement through your jaw, maybe into your neck and shoulders. And keep your breath moving. Full inhales and full exhales. And now slowly release. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, flip your back toes, and find a three-legged dog with your right leg up into the air. Take a moment, bend your knee, open your hip. Option to bring your right foot down to the ground and flip your dog. Just a moment to go upside down. This is an option. And then slowly revolve yourself back to a downward facing dog. We're going to take that on the opposite side. On your inhale, lift your left leg. And now pull your left knee to your left wrist and set up for your half pigeon on your second side. Take a moment to set things up through the upper torso, through the hips and the knees. And then when you're ready, if you feel comfortable, you can fold over your front left shin and just allow your torso to be heavy over that leg. If you need to take the option on your back with your ankle crossed over your knee, you can find that variation as well. Wherever you ended with your breath on the first side, try to start there on this side and then see if you can go even a little bit deeper with the breath. In these deep stretches, these deep postures, your breath is your best tool. Give yourself about 3 more big breaths in whichever variation of this hip opener that you've taken. And now slowly start to bring yourself out of this. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Flip your back toes. Find a three-legged dog with your left leg up into the air. Bend your left knee and then option to flip over so your left foot comes down to the ground. Lift your hips up towards the ceiling. Open through your chest and your heart space. Just an option, or you can stay in your three-legged dog. And either way, we're moving back to a downward facing dog. Final moments in this posture. Give yourself one final big breath here. Lower your knees down to the ground and come to lie all the way on your back. Pull your knees into your chest, grab for fingers or wrists or forearms, and you can take a little side-to-side movement, kind of a little massage through the lower back. Easy supine twist. T or cactus your arms out to the side and let your knees fall over to the left. You can bring your gaze over to the right if it feels okay through your neck and shoulders. And just allow yourself to sink into this twist. Every exhale, maybe you feel yourself going a little bit further. And then slowly bring your knees back to center. And then let your knees gently fall over to the right. And if it feels okay through the neck and shoulders, bring your gaze over to the left. Find full breaths into your belly and your chest. And then slowly pull your knees back to center. Take one last moment here. Pull your knees into your chest. Bring your forehead up to your knees, a tiny little ball. And then release yourself into your final meditation posture. Extend your legs long and heavy in front of you. You can bring your arms down by your side and allow your eyes to close. Give yourself a few moments of stillness and silence and breath. Take this time to let your body and mind absorb everything that you just put into it for the past 15 minutes. Thank you for joining us today. And that's your flow.